Self-love has become such a goddamn buzzword that we don't even know what it means anymore. Okay, a lot of people confuse it with like high level of narcissism, or some people confuse it with just like being kind to yourself. Okay, self-love is an evolution, it's a process, it's a journey. Okay, and it starts with your self-image. It starts with you, how you see yourself. Do you actually like yourself? Start with that before self-love. Self-like. Do you like yourself? Are there aspects of you that you cherish and savor? And the thing about self-love is you can't go halfway. There ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. There's no such thing as half a gangster. You can't be half pregnant. In Christmas, when Santa Claus says they get you a little puppy, they don't give you half the puppy. Okay? This is not how it works. You gotta go all in with loving yourself unconditionally. From that level of almost supernatural, metaphysical, spiritual. Okay? And I think a lot of people are missing out on the self-love. And when you miss out on the self-love, you miss out on the other love. You miss out on other relationships that can fulfill you. You see? Everyone's trying to fix it out here instead of working on it internally in here. So when you can be like, okay, I love myself. I really, truly love myself. There are aspects of me that I see and I want to just cherish, and I'm proud to own those traits and qualities. And I know that I'm a good person. And I know that I'm a good person. You see, if you're not starting from that baseline of you telling yourself, I'm a good person, how are you going to truly evolve? If a flower believes at its core, if it believes it's a bad person, how is it going to generate so much power and respect when they don't even respect themselves? When they don't give themselves power in certain situations, when they self-sabotage. So I would say the opposite of self-love is self-sabotage. Because it's gotten to that point where an old pattern is creeped in, almost like a little poison drip, right? It's gotten into the sewage system. But it's infiltrated everything. So it's your job, it's your duty, it's your dharma to understand that when I'm going into that old pattern again, when I feel like I'm sinking deeper, I catch myself. And I have a protocol that I deal with my self-hate to transmute it into self-love. What do you hate about yourself? Let's start there. I hate that I can't get up on time. I hate that I have a gap in my tooth. I hate that my nose is slightly crooked. I hate that people don't want to talk to me. But again, that's not about you. But in any case, this is what people say, right? I feel like I'm kind of in the dumps, okay? They don't say I'm feeling sad, usually. What does that subjective reality even mean to you? You have to make sense of your mind. And if your mind is constantly on a search mode, so you have to give your mind tasks to do. Okay? Little equations, little things that it's trying to search for. Okay? And the questioning process will accumulate the self-love. This is why working with a coach or a trainer or a person who understands can really get you to accept your self-love. What is this emotion trying to teach me? Okay, what is the lesson there? What level of love do I need to transmute this painful situation? There's another level of service, okay? When you're giving service without any expectation, without trying to, micromanage something, or, secretly have your product in the back. Like if I had my product in the back of my mind, Flomo Sapien, right? And I was like, trying to permeate it into little parts of the conversation so that your consciousness, sucks onto it. That's not pure, right? Of course, if I'm dope, you're gonna buy my program. Okay? Now I can give you more details about it, that's a different story. But if you like me as a personality, as a person, and you watch me on YouTube, of course you're gonna like my program and you're gonna get benefit from it. Why? Because it's a vibe. Self-love is a vibe. And I don't think anybody has ever considered this. that if you walk into an environment with self-love, you get treated with respect and gratitude and openness, and you get less turmoil and less resistance from the environment, less tension. But what if you come out of stumbling, unprepared, drunk, bad-mouthing people? What are you going to get back? More of that. Now, it doesn't mean you have to micromanage yourself and always be in self-love all the time, okay? Now you're creating more rigidity around it. Now you're getting stubborn with your self-love. That's not what it's about, okay? It's free-flowing, it's openness, it's expansiveness. It's you giving yourself a roadmap and being like, okay, yeah, this is where I'm gonna go to. And I'm gonna smoothly move in the direction of what I truly prefer. Not what society wants for me, not what my parents want for me, not what my teachers or mentors want for me, not what, I hear on a TV commercial somewhere. No, it's what I want for me. At a certain level, when you get to your self-love, you also start to get a taste of the substrate. What do I mean by that? The substrate is the universal love that's always holding you, guiding you, making sure that you're protected and safe. Now, we have no scientific measure of this, okay? Back in the day, they called it Brahman, the underlying everlasting presence. That's like a hint or a tint or a note in the background, like a radiator hum, right, in the background of our lives. This protective God energy, this God consciousness that protects us all. If you sit with your self-love enough times, genuine self-love, not like spiritually fake woke, not like self-aggrandizement, none of that, but a genuine care for yourself and a self-love. You see, self-care and self-love, they're best friends. So if you're not loving yourself, you're not going to take care of something that you don't love. But once you're like, hey, I want to be presentable, not just for my friends and showing the world, but for me. I'm the most of me that I can be for me. What do people say when you say that someone's very loving? Usually it's related to, let's say, the heart, okay? Like he's very much in his feelings and his heart, okay? That's fine. What's another definition of loving? Maybe they're very giving, that they're creative, they're giving. And so as they're giving, they're receiving love as a byproduct of their giving. But what if we associated living with loving? Loving with living. It's just one letter, right? The I gets replaced by the O. You just take the I and you just twist it around. Now you have loving. What if your life was this journey of love? And what if love is as complicated as we make it out to be? It has nuances, it has multiple dimensions, right? Why do we say that love can so quickly spur into hate? Because it's in one spectrum. Everything that the poets have tried to describe with this romantic love and the love for family, and then the poets getting so confused that they have to write like 11,000 poems explaining this process. But what is your definition? That's what you gotta decide. Which means to cut out other options. So you got to decide what love means to you. Love to me means a unity. A unity with myself. An integration with myself where all my little parts, my bad boy side, maybe my people pleaser side, maybe the version of me that always wants to be stylish, maybe there's a version of me that, is a leader. All of those parts of me come together in one giant boardroom and everyone gets along. And everyone agrees, there's a consensus, there's an alignment between thoughts, words, actions, decisions that are being made, right? There's a consensus, there's an agreement. There's a meeting intention and an agreement when the meeting ends. That feeling of internal alignment where all my characters that I have access to meet. I know that that is the definition of true beauty, true art, true creation, true godliness, okay? Godfidence. So I want you to think about this today when you're thinking about self-love, is don't just look at it from the physical standpoint. Self-love, once you love yourself to the greatest extent in the capability that you can then finally love another person. Because you understand that they're just a reflection of you. And they're pointing out all your shadows. That's why, relationships are great for shadow work as well. They point out all the little aspects of you that annoy you about you, right? And it's very difficult. It's very difficult when two people, can't get along. They want to get along, but they're like two separate beings from two different planets. And it's tough to communicate. It's tough to reach that midpoint, that sweet spot, that flow state with each other. But what if you reach that sweet spot and that flow state within you? What if you doubled down on your self-love so much that you became a walking broadcasting system of love? Like those Care Bears back in the day, right? You like beam out love wherever you go. Not a lot of people will accept your love. That's a weird thing, right? You think, oh, but it's free. Take my love. No, actually, if they're not in the vibe, if they're not in the same vibration as you, they're not going to accept that love. So what do you do with that love? Do you just leave it lilting on the side of the street? You understand, you take that love and you add, you look at the different pole associated with that to cause a symmetry. And that will cause path working our way forward. By the way, this is an idea that from Yadavir, as he talked about it. It's very interesting, actually, about beauty and symmetry. So if you have like a bad feeling inside, right, like a torment or a despair, you ask yourself, what is the opposite of that feeling? And put more of your attention, focus, energy to energize that, so that the old energy fizzles away. But then now there's a proper symmetry because there's a proper balance. Earlier, this one is overpowering this energy, see? And that's why you're feeling like you're depressed or in your despair or you're in fear or anger or whatever the quote-unquote negative valence emotion is, right? But if you could have them meet at the middle, like two secretaries, right? Like in the United Nations, two secretaries, representatives of their own country, coming together, meeting in the middle, talking it out, reaching a consensus. Mediators, that's what they do, right? Mediators do that. They mediate between two people, two different, walks of life maybe, or even. See the ghetto person, right? Like, hey man, hey, what's going on, dog? Come on now. You have someone like that, and then you have someone from a high aristocratic family. Oh, hello, yes, quiet, yes, oh, governor. You have those two people meeting in an environment where their language does not meet, right? So you need a mediator to translate, come through, have one neutralization, translate, come through, have one neutralization, so they can both meet their language in the middle. This is why I haven't had one instance of where I've heard of a good, great marriage dispute counselor or something like that, like be world famous and really take it, So, but I'm sure it's there, right? I'm sure they exist. I'm sure maybe a few of you are watching this, okay? But knowing that, you understand how important that meeting in the middle, that neutralization of the negative charge of the emotions is so important if you want to get that respect back, if you want to get that trust back, if you want to get that communication line going again. There needs to be a genuine meeting of two minds, of two souls. Instead of this weird thing that we're doing, this like dance and walking around on eggshells. It's not going to work. If you truly love yourself, you're not going to walk around on eggshells. You're going to go all the way. And if you love yourself, you got to end your sentences like that, I'm telling you. You're upset with me right now. In brackets, you're not saying this out loud. And I love myself. I know this is not working for you. In brackets, and I love myself. I hope this works out for you, and I love myself. So the "and I love myself," the self-love, is invisible. You're not going around broadcasting, "I love myself, I love myself." You can, I mean, if it's your party, go ahead. I mean, I'm not stopping you, right? It's an invisible vibe. When you love yourself, you can tell. This person really loves themselves. They're taking care of themselves. They're emphasizing qualities in them that other people want to see and hear and feel replenished by. So go forth with that momentum and energy today. Have an incredible day. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. May you never be the same again. Hit me up if you want a session.